What's going on, guys? Welcome to episode 54 of our Cincinnati Reds franchise. Going to kick this one off before gameplay. We're going to talk about the NL West. Give you guys a nice little wrap up and just kind of let you guys know how everybody is looking. Give you a little preview, things like that. Because the National League we care about, right? We definitely care about National League opponents and seeing how these guys are going to perform. And, you know, kind of scope out the competition. Maybe even look for some trade offers eventually, right? So after this, we'll do the NL East in another video, and then on the third spring training video, I will cover our last game of spring training, and then I'll cover all the American League teams all at once, and that'll be like a nice little quick type of thing. So let's talk about the Padres here real quick. Josh Donaldson, their best player, had a pretty good season last year. Definitely a Josh Donaldson type of season, so you know, expect him to keep producing. Eric Hosmer had a really good year, 102 RBIs. He's only done that twice in his entire career, and that's pretty good actually, especially in Petco Park. You know, Dinelson Lamet, best starting pitcher. Jake Junis, Robert Stevenson. Look for him to actually bounce back. When we traded him over to San Diego, he actually started pitching a little bit better. 3.68, 1.66, so he definitely brought the ERA down. He was almost a evened out pitcher here, 5-5, you know, could have been, what could have been. But born in California, he went back home, and it was a perfect situation for him. I think he's going to have a pretty good season this year. So that is the San Diego Padres. Just real quick, you know, they have to get some more production out of Renfroe. Got to get some more production out of Corey Dickerson this year. Definitely need to be driving in some more runs to help their pitching staff that actually is going to not be too bad, all things considered, because it is Petco Park. All right, guys, so let's talk about the LA Dodgers. This team is absolutely stacked. Absolutely stacked. Look at this. We're not even at the end of the list, and there's an 86. You know, Yasmani Grandal right there. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Tommy Pham was acquired in a trade. Starling Castro and Chris Taylor, so they ended up getting Tommy Pham from the Cardinals for that. We got Clayton Kershaw, Kenley Jansen, Cody Bellinger. I mean, this team is nuts. Julio Urias, 86. He's 23 years old. They're one of their youngest players, their prospects. The bullpen is crazy good right here. Look at Josh Fields, Baez, Segrist, Lugo, Gesellman. It just doesn't stop, you know. And then we've got a bunch of 80s and 90s in their starting nine. But when we look at second base, that's probably their one weakness. So definitely watch out for the Dodgers in the NL West this year. All right, next up is Colorado Rockies. This team is pretty top heavy. Because, like, look, guys, when we go from Nolan Arenado down to Wade Davis and then John Gray, you know, pretty dang good players here with Trevor Story, Anderson, DJ LeMahieu. We're going to actually see them next episode because I do have gameplay against the Rockies in spring training. And then we've got, after them, a bunch of 70s, and then it kind of just drops off, right? So this team might surprise some people, but, you know, don't be surprised if they actually start doing well, especially how they are doing in real life, already in the playoffs. They beat the Chicago Cubs in that one-game playoff. So then we look at who they've got. It's David Dahl, young guy, Kyle Freeland, young guy, Trevor Story, relatively young at 27, 82 overall with that A potential. Pretty good team. Team you got to watch out for, especially when they are at Coors Field. Now, when we look at the Arizona Diamondbacks, this is a team that's not too top heavy, right? Unlike the Colorado Rockies. And when we get Jake Lamb, we're looking at him here, 79, but don't be fooled, it doesn't drop off as hard. You know, these guys have a lot of depth to their team, so they might be another candidate to surprise in the NL West for sure. Looking at Iglesias here, he didn't have too great of a season, guys. 4.27 with a 1.33. Had some pretty, I mean, he might have been hurt. Either that or he didn't get in enough games. But, you know, hey, I think they've already got, yeah, they got Archie Bradley. So that might have been what the deal was. Actually, they split some work. So Bradley had 50 innings. Iglesias had about 52 innings. So they might have split some work there. which isn't a bad strategy. But their bullpen probably is going to be the thing that does them in this year. Pitching, it's okay. It's all right. It's not better than us, though. Looking at their offense, it's just pretty much just Goldschmidt. Yeah, Jake Lamb. I love Jake Lamb, but that contact against lefties is just not doing it. Tomas Peralta, Odubel Herrera they must have gotten in free agent signings or a trade last season. Then Steven Souza. Yeah, I mean, this is they got a lot of depth. But, again, do I think they're going to do anything? Not really. I don't think that they're going to win the division or anything, but I think that they could surprise if they get hot. So that's another team you got to watch out for. The San Francisco Giants, Madison Bumgarner, Buster Posey, still the same old crew here, McCutchen, Blackmon. They actually signed Charlie Blackmon in the offseason, guys, so that is a big get for them. They're moving McCutchen over to the right field. Panic, I love Joe Panic. He's always been a good hitter. 288, 279, 288. You can just count on him to just give you consistency at the position. We've got, yeah, I mean, this team is deep. Ryan Schimpf, probably going to be a backup second baseman. Austin Jackson, backup center fielder. Aaron Altair. Yeah, this team's pretty solid. Chris Stratton, 80 overall. I wouldn't be surprised if the Giants made a wild card berth. I mean, I think that the Dodgers are going to definitely be the team that's going to win the NL West. Could be wrong. Seen crazier things happen, especially if a lot of injuries happen to the Dodgers. Hey, you know who's going to come knocking? It's the San Francisco Giants. So that's going to be it for the NL West preview, guys. I'll see you in the gameplay against the Cleveland Indians and Corey Kluber. All right, guys, let's get this one underway. Nelly Rodriguez is a guy that we're going to have to watch out for. You know, this Cleveland Indians team is bringing back a whole lot of the same familiar faces. You got Ramirez, Brantley, Lindor, Chisenhall, Zimmer, Perez. You know, it's kind of the same core group of guys that they've had for quite a while now. And it's still going to be a really good team to face off against, but you know, we picked off Carlos Carrasco from them, so they don't have as good of a pitching staff, but they still have Corey Kluber, and that's who we're going to have to face off against here in spring training game number 1, just like last season and the year before that. It's been 3 years running we lead off against the Indians. Hopefully, when the schedule comes out for regular season, they actually corrected that and have the Reds playing at home versus on the road like we did last season. So you guys can see here that I am changing the difficulty level up from All-Star to Hall of Fame for both hitting and pitching. It's going to be a little bit more difficult on us to hit this season and score some runs, which is exactly what I wanted. And I don't like changing things up unless it's like sliders. I don't like changing things too much. I only change things slightly during my franchise or my dynasty stuff because I like to keep things consistent. For the following year, I'm all up for grabs. You know, I want to be able to change some things and make some things more difficult. Maybe have to defend our title a little bit harder. You know what I mean? So we can see AJ Pollock here at the number 2 hole getting a double, and he laced that slider high and inside right back over third baseman's head there. That's Jose Ramirez. And then Joey Votto comes up and he's going to get a single, an RBI single to tack on 1 run here in the top of the first. And Kluber's already up to about 12 pitches. That's 13 now with 4 straight balls to Schebler. Actually, that's 14 now. He's got 15 here to Eugenio Suarez. He's in some trouble with fastball right down the middle, and Suarez takes him deep. But Brantley's going to camp right under it at the warning track. Nobody's tagging, so runners do not advance. Runners on first and second now. 0-2 count here on Scooter Gennett, and he's going to strike out. So, you know, Scooter's struggling. Scooter seems to struggle in this franchise for whatever reason. We got to get him going because he's a better hitter than what he's been letting on in this franchise series. So here is Craig Gentry, the leadoff hitter, the DH, and then we got to work on some PFP, guys, pitcher's fielding practice, because that wasn't very good. I mean, I don't blame Keuchel for not getting to that baseball. That was a really tough one to get to, but Scooter's got to be able to grab that one one-handed. And here, Keuchel, I do blame him on this one because he got a late start to first base. You got to have a little bit more hustle than that. 9 times out of 10, you're not going to beat Michael Brantley, though, to first base, but you got to show a little bit more hustle than he did. But luckily, Jose Ramirez is going to ground out into a double play here from Suarez. That's a 5-4-3 double play. And then we've got Votto tossing over to Keuchel. That's what I like to see right there. Make up for the early mistakes and no runs. Actually, 1 run is a board. But regardless, I like the hustle the second time around. So, you know, these guys are world champions. They got to shake off the dust a little bit. That's what spring training is all about. Here's Nick Senzel coming up to bat here in the top of the second, and he is looking good so far, guys. I mean, hey, it's the first game of spring training, but you know what? He came on late last season, and even in the playoffs, he actually did really well for us. So I'm impressed with what I'm seeing out of Senzel thus far. So I think if you guys were looking at this season, as we see Pavin Smith coming up here with a 2-run bomb, guys. He was facing an 0-2 count. And, you know, on Hall of Fame difficulty, you know, it's not going to be easy hitting a bunch of home runs. But Pavin Smith, man, look at that. He's making his name for himself, trying to secure that backup first base job. So between Senzel and Pavin Smith, guys, the 2 young studs right here are looking good. I like what I see out of this. Look at that swing. Boom. Boosh. That's a big time boosh. We got 3-1 game here, and we get a strikeout for Keuchel. And what I was gonna say, guys, is if you were playing fantasy sports right now with these rosters, you know what I mean? You would definitely want to take a stab at Nick Senzel for sure, because this would be the kind of year that he would be ready for a breakout. Year number 3 in the pros. It all kind of adds up. But we see Roberto Perez going to strike out on a changeup low and away. And yet again, we saw that with Brantley, or not Brantley, that was somebody else. This is Brantley, as Saramano strikes him out. But we saw that yet again, that Keuchel just cannot get over to first base. So we might have to work on his speed a little bit as some training goes. You got to be able to field your position, guys. You just have to. With first base being slow as well, and Joey Votto, you know, our pitchers have to be able to get over there in time when a ball does get hit to them. So we see that Pavin Smith comes up yet again. We had a pretty good inning by Sal Romano, and then we see Pavin Smith coming up here yet again and getting another base hit. And this time he goes the opposite way, and he served that pitch out there to the opposite side of the field. I like what I saw there by Pavin Smith. We got Taylor Trammell taking over for A.J. Pollock after a walk. So we got runners on second and first, and Trammell is fighting this one off. It's now a full count. This against Danny Salazar, who actually is a fireballer. So I like Trammell versus Salazar here because Trammell seems to be able to really handle those 96+ mile-an-hour pitches. For whatever reason, I can just time it up with him. I just like hitting with left-handers in this game for whatever reason. It's just more of a clear shot. I mean, we can see him here. You know, he's working Danny Salazar. I mean, this is Danny Salazar's first inning, and he's already close to 30 pitches right now. I mean, this is a crazy good inning for the Reds here, trying to work this fireballer, because you're going to make a mistake. Look how many pitches that is. I think that's 9. This will be the 9th pitch right here on a full count. Runners are on their way, and Trammell takes, almost swung, but he check swung it, and there you go. So top of the 4th, and Danny Salazar's got bases loaded now, and in steps Tyler White. So we're going to replace Joey Votto with Tyler White. This is a key moment for his progression. Want to be able to see what he can do, and he takes a high fastball right out there to right field, and look at this. Diving is Chisenhall, and he can't come up with it. 3 runs are going to score, guys, and Tyler White drives the baseball opposite field and gets a 3-run double. Love it. Love it. Now, would we want Joey Votto to get some? Yeah, we would. But you know what? Tyler White, got to get him some at-bats too. You got to show him some love. And now it's 6-1. And we see Sal Romano still out there. Votto, or not Votto, but I'm so used to saying that because we never really replaced Votto at first base, so I'm so used to saying that. Tyler White goes over there and makes that ground ball to first base for an out, and then we get Jesse Winker playing his position well. And now we're going to go with Hunter Green, making his appearance, his first one on the spring, and check it out. Jesse Winker going back to the track, to the wall, and he cannot come up with it. Probably, maybe shouldn't have jumped for it. Probably should have just let the CPU handle it. Maybe that's something that I got to work on. But that's Nelly Rodriguez. We covered him in the pregame, and he's going to get on there with a double. And look at this. Nobody's challenging. So Rodriguez is not going to challenge Taylor Trammell's arm. And that, guys, that was a dime. That was an absolute dime, a shot right out there. And then we get Roberto Perez challenging Phillip Ervin out there in right field. We do have some subs going on here in the bottom of the 5th inning. And then we got Craig Gentry coming up, ground ball here to Senzel. Probably could not turn the double play there. So for whatever reason, he's gonna elect to go to first base. I think that was because I pressed triangle to go to second, and then thinking he was gonna let go of the baseball, trying to get second base to throw it over to first for the double play. But luckily we got one, and luckily we only allowed one. So now we've got Hunter Green going a 2nd inning here in the bottom of the 6th, and this baseball is gone. It's a big time boosh by none other than Jose Ramirez for 410-foot shot. So Hunter Green, I mean, he's got to work on the long ball here and getting hit hard. But Taylor Trammell out there in center field is looking like Billy Hamilton. You know, he's gonna replace him pretty well, and Hunter Green appreciates that. But look at, again, guys, another home run. Another home run. This isn't good for Hunter Green. He's, like I said, this is a curveball to Logan Forsythe. I mean, I think I show the replay here, and if not, I apologize. But this is nope, I didn't. But he threw a curveball low and outside, and still yet Forsythe was able to handle it for a home run. So it's now going to be 6-4, and somehow, some way, the Cleveland Indians are back in this thing. That's Blandino out there at third base making that catch, and then Blandino coming up here making a strong throw over to first base to Tyler White to retire the side. Nice throw there, kid. Here's Dan Otero. We got some subs for the Indians. Mike Gerber's out there in left field now. He's actually a Detroit Tiger, a former Tiger now in this series. So we got Phillip Ervin coming up to bat here. 0-0 count, 6-4 game. Got to get some insurance runs here, and here is a changeup that Phillip Ervin just demolishes. A big time, what, guys? What? A big time boosh. 7-4 here, 416-foot shot for Phillip Ervin. Gotta love that. Dan Otero's like, what? I suck. But look at that swing. He kind of lunged a little bit. You got to work on that there, but that's all right. Then we get Nick Senzel coming up. He is still in the game, and he's going to get a ringing double out there in the right field corner. He's going to dive in, and he's going to get in there safely. So yet again, guys, Nick Senzel's got 2 knocks thus far in this game. He's looking pretty dang good thus far in preseason game number 1. Stevenson gets subbed for Barnhart, and he's going to strike out. And then Aristides Aquino comes up and grounds out to second base. That's Logan Forsythe, I believe. So now here's the new look Andrew Miller. He was 2-0 last season, 42 games pitched, and I like what I like Andrew Miller. I like what he's going to be able to do for our bullpen, but you know, maybe he's just got to get some jitters out. Maybe he's just working on some stuff, because I think I just threw all fastballs. That's actually Bobby Bradley. He pinch hit, so they actually put a left-handed hitter up to face against Andrew Miller. And then look at this catch by Aquino. Nice job tracking that thing down. He doesn't have as much speed as Jesse Winker, so I was actually surprised that he got there. But here's Eric Gonzalez going to pinch hit with a runner on first base, and Eric Gonzalez, of all people, is going to get in with a double. Aquino fields it nicely, but you know, the runners are going to hold here. We got a 2-2 count on Eric Gonzalez, and that's what he did with it. And here's Nelly Rodriguez, that rookie that we highlighted, and 2 runs are going to score here. Trammell trying to get this big throw, but he was just too far in the outfield to even have a chance. So now it's 7-6, and Andrew Miller, guys, is not looking very solid right now. He doesn't have a single strikeout thus far, which is really what he does. So he doesn't have a single strikeout, but he's able to get this out to Aquino out there in left field. And now we're going to go with Brad Hand to shut down the Indians, and he is looking pretty good, guys, because we get a strikeout here. That's Tyler Naquin. It's actually 2 strikeouts on the inning, and then a line shot to Senzel is going to end the game. So somehow Brad Hand was on the field, and then now he's in the dugout shaking everybody's hands. And then he's going to go back out to the field, and then back to the dugout, and then walk out on the field. So I don't know what's going on. San Diego Studios, fix your game. But there you go, guys. Reds win. Reds win. Reds win. There's Brad Hand walking out on the field, of course. But yeah, I mean, less than stellar performance out of some guys, namely Scooter Gennett, namely Scott Schebler. Didn't really show him too much in the highlights. Andrew Miller didn't look very good at all. But I'm really impressed with Senzel, Pavin Smith, and some of our younger guys. Hunter Green's got to work on some stuff. But guys, I'll catch you on Friday for more Reds. As always, peace.